This is the best-selling air purifier on Amazon and one of the highest rated. I'm gonna build one that's better in every single way. That's right, over 50,000 people bought one of these last month, and I can show you how to make one that is more effective, quieter, you have to change the filters less often, and all of that, you can make it for even less than what you can buy this for. Those are all pretty lofty claims, but there's one drawback, is that my filter is gigantic, but it works super well. But just like in airplanes, where the wings provide lift and they also store fuel, we can get a little creative with some of the things in an apartment to have more than one purpose. For example, this coffee table that holds all of my junk right now can fit an air filter underneath it, and you'd never know. Like a glove. So let's start with basics. Why the crazy shape on the top?
Because I'm going to fit this underneath my coffee table, I can't put the fans on the side because of this skirt here. And the only way to get 5 fans into this narrow of a space is to angle them all like this. And then now that I have that shape, it's just a little too big to print all at once, so I'm going to split it into 3 separate things that'll then bolt together. And it's just a short 15 hours later that all of these things will be ready for me.
I made a mistake here. The printer, for whatever reason, thought that this part was like a millimeter off the bed, so it printed this whole like underlayer. I'm not sure why. So unfortunately, that's a failed print, and I had to reset. Doing it right this time, hopefully. Does anybody have any idea what these little wispies are that are printing on these support columns?
Just started off by clearing off all the support material to get all the edges nice and smooth, because anything with a sharp corner will end up making sound as air passes over it. And now I'm not super worried about how airtight all of this stuff is, because as long as 99% of the air is flowing through the filters, I don't think it'll be an issue. I'm not making a clean room here, just trying to clean up the air at my apartment.
Okay, so it actually blows air out this way. That is like surprisingly powerful, and that's amazingly. Oh, ow.
All 5 of these I bought in a pack. They're just standard 120mm computer fans, and they daisy chain together, so I only need to put power into the first one, and then that relays it to the rest.
That screw, how am I supposed to get my finger in there to tighten that? So I gotta use some like surgical tools to really figure this out. Stand by. This is what we'll be working with. Oh, there we go. There's a loose connector. Let's go. And I'm amazed at how quiet that is.
For the enclosure, it's made out of scrap plywood, and then I put it together with leftover drywall screws from my job site. The next step is to tape up all the seams just to minimize the air leakage around the whole box and then the manifold.
So I got 2 filters. This one is going to be my pre-filter. It's going to catch all the big hairs and things like that. And then this is the one that's going to be doing a ton of the super fine particulate filtering. And so this is just to make sure this doesn't get clogged too quickly. Should extend the life. I basically just need this to last the entirety of summer. Because in the winter, spring, and fall, we just keep the windows open anyway. So here we go.
Here's a chart of MERV values with their effectiveness at filtering different levels of particulate. I went with a MERV 5 and a MERV 13. Those are basically the most common ones you're going to find at a Home Depot. That's the only reason I went with them.
You can see they have a direction that they want to go in. I want to seal this up just to make sure no air slips in between the two, as much as I can. See? A little gap like that up at the top there is no problem. I'm gonna cover it up. Oh, I just realized I'm not wearing, my dogs are out. A lot of fun to edit for sure. I want to clarify, DIY air filters are nothing new. You should check out the subreddit CR boxes if you're looking for just ultra high performance things. Unfortunately, in my apartment, I have to make a decision between one of these small consumer grade air filters and these giant, very efficient things. I have to go somewhere in the middle because ideally I get the best of both worlds, where I can filter my air to a high degree and also have it be out of the way and it's not something ugly to look at. So now the question is, how do I get this attached to this? I don't want to just use duct tape, and I kind of forgot to add any like through hole that I can use a screw. So we got to do something less pretty. So now we just got this gap kind of down here that is not quite as rigid as I'd like it to be. So if I put a screw at like this angle, it might pull the two pieces together like so, and I think I'm gonna try that. Look at that. And now I just got to do one more layer of tape around the perimeter where the manifold and the box meet, and this thing's ready to be plugged in. This is kind of a schizophrenic activity. This doesn't look like somebody that is in their right mind, but it will be effective. And I just saw a little hole right there, so I'm just gonna. Done. Solved. Chad, are you seeing this? Okay, so this one connector here is a little funky. What is happening? And then I let go of it, and now everything turns back on. And now it's off. Oh, we're shorting out, that's why. We gotta figure out a better power solution here for sure. But this is just evidence that we're drawing air in through the filter itself. Look at that. It like gets sucked down to it. God, that's so cool. This should be a pretty intense test of this device right here. This measures the amount of particulate in the air, and I just did a big dusting of everything and turned the fan on. So hopefully there's lots of particulate just blowing around, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. So I'm gonna turn on this power, and then we'll see how this graph drops over time, and then hopefully we can get some good data out of that. And we're going. Oh my God, look at this. As soon as I plugged it in. So we got this thing running. Now keep in mind the fans are blowing directly onto this sensor, but I can measure the airflow of this. Oh, hello, my little particulate generator. I can measure the airflow of this and then calculate the cubic feet of my apartment to know how many cycles per hour we can expect this to have. But look at this graph. This is just a few minutes, maybe a minute or two, and this is right when we turned it on. So it's been a few minutes. This just keeps going down slowly and slowly, so I'm just gonna let it chill for about 20 minutes or until we hit equilibrium, and then I know that this is kind of at its limit. But at least right now, I'm blown away by how well this works. And it's so quiet. I mean, seriously, it's like any other device in my house is 3 times as loud as this. Like, you don't even notice that this is on.
Here are the results of the test. You can see when I turned on the air filter, and then over the course of about 10 to 12 minutes, it brought the quality of air in my whole apartment to a very clean level. I'm so happy with how this worked out.
So this has been running for almost 5 hours now, but look at those values. It's down to less than 1.
And that's this little particulate generator. Little generator of particulates. He's working hard to offset the fan.
So there's been a small change of plan. This is Murphy, and this is kind of his office down here. He gathers his stuff here and he hangs out. I don't want to take away any of his real estate, so instead I'm just going to jam it behind my TV where, yeah, it's still out of the way. And when I hide it with the painting, it's like you can't even tell that it's back there. So I'm going to keep it this way. If you like this video, consider subscribing because I'm going to be working on making a aeroponics setup for these guys. That's in the works. I got some other stuff, but I don't want to share that just yet. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Little particulate generator. Particulate.